the highest point on the Grainbelt Brewhouse is the cupola.
For nearly a century, it was a dominant fixture in the landscape of northeast Minneapolis. Now there's something brewing inside once again. In tonight's extra, the old Grainbelt Brewhouse will soon reopen its historic doors. They turned off the tap 25 years ago when Grainbelt was sold to the G. Heilemann Company in St. Paul. But the old plant is now in the midst of a $20 million renovation. And as KARE-11's Mark Daly reports, loyal Grainbelt fans are raising their glasses to celebrate.
It'll look considerably better than this now.
Groggy, as if waking with a terrible hangover.
This is about 70,000 square feet of office space.
An old friend is making a comeback in northeast Minneapolis.
We want to make it look almost as much as we can like it did in 1900.
In its heyday, the Grainbelt Brewhouse was an architectural marvel.
That's why the building is as tall as it is. You'd bring the grain and the liquids to the top, and gravity would be your friend.
But 25 years ago, the brewery went dry. Bottling operations were moved to St. Paul, and the pride of the neighborhood was abandoned like a skunky beer.
We'll be coming in here, removing all the plaster, bringing it down to the brick.
But now, the historic landmark is ready for another round.
Well, we're certain to probably have some Grainbelt beer at the grand opening party.
It all started about a year ago when RSP Architects outgrew its home in the warehouse district.
What we're looking at here is a wireframe model.
Derek McCallum is just one of several RSP employees using 21st century computer technology to help redesign and renovate the 19th century brewhouse.
Yeah, I mean, you could get motion sickness if you did the right thing.
A beer factory featuring an ornate 4-story staircase and a domed roof known as a cupola is being preserved and transformed into office space for RSP Architects' 250 employees.
Should be able to house about 80 people in here, and potentially more if we put a mezzanine along part of this.
One of the criteria that led us here was that we wanted something really unique and something that would be stimulating and fun to be in for a group of creative people.
Despite Jim Newman's youthful indiscretion.
This friend of mine, Chuck Wyckoff, made me get that. Yeah, he forced me into it.
The loyal Grainbelt drinkers across the street at Grumpy's
We'll never have a skunky beer here.
are as happy as anyone that the brewhouse will reopen.
It's from the early 50s.
Anyone, that is, except for maybe Jeff Lonto.
I tell people I wrote a book about Grainbelt. I'm a Grainbelt collector, Grainbelt guy. It's a good title.
Ever since he was a little kid, Lonto, who lives just a few blocks from the old brewhouse, has been obsessed with Grainbelt.
My fantasy, my vision for the place, it would have been nice if they turned it into some kind of a brewery museum.
That's not quite going to happen, but project officials do promise to allow some public access.
For people that want to see the building and want to see it for its historic importance, that we will definitely figure out a way to accommodate that.
It'll never be the same as it was a century ago, but the old Grainbelt Brewhouse is once again poised to become the pride of the neighborhood. And that is a surefire cure for even the worst hangover. Mark Daly, KARE-11 News.
The renovation of the Grainbelt Brewhouse is scheduled to be completed by the end of this year. Local and federal tax dollars will cover about 3/4 of the $20 million cost. Well, the excitement is